Hello, my little ice cubes, and welcome to my brand new channel. I am Icy Nevermelt, and before we get started, I just want to point out one thing. This will be my secondary VTubing channel. Now, my main VTube channel, of course, will be my Twitch, and there's going to be a link down below for you to go to it. However, I'm going to be doing games on my Twitch where I will be playing games like Tales of Arise, as well as several other RPG games and alike. But I will explain all game related stuff on there, so please follow me there. Meanwhile, on my YouTube channel here, I will be doing videos about anime, such as, well, today's video will be JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, and I'm planning on doing for a paladin, the Great Jai Sama will not be defeated, plus several other anime that I believe deserve somewhat love and attention. So please, by all means, follow me here, and Twitch, and also my Twitter as well. Oh, one last thing. I don't have a VTube model yet, so starting next year slash month, I will be doing things to work towards my goals, such as getting a brand new laptop, as well as getting a VTube model. However, I will be using a PNG, so say hello to ta-da! Riona from Senran Kagura. Now, the reason why I'm using the Riona PNG is simply because my character model, Icy, is going to be based, well, not really based, but her personality is going to be similar to, of course, Riona's. And also, Riona is also ice-based as well, so it still makes sense through and through. But with that being said, please follow me here, my Twitter, and my Twitch. And with that being said and done, let us get started. Now, starting off with today's episode, today's video, whatever. We're going to be discussing, of course, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, Stone Ocean. And this, of course, as you can know, is just the 6th installment of the JoJo Bizarre Adventure series. Plus, I'm going to be talking to you as if you are brand new. Now, granted, I know those who are watching this video already more than likely knows JoJo already. But just on the one-off chance that you don't know and you're new to it and you want to get into it, well, let's start off by what is going on here. So, you have the character, well, you have these characters, they're all characters in JoJo, and of course, duh, I know. But let's start off with the main protagonist, Jolene Cujo, who was convicted of a crime she didn't commit. She was framed for murder, and she was sent to jail, where you get to understand just why she was framed. And she meets her father, Shotaro Cujo, who of course was the main protagonist in Part 3, and he also had a part in Part 4. He did absolutely nothing in Part 5 except for make a cameo, and here he is in Part 6 where he at least has a significant role, which of course causes Jolene to need to save his life. She gets a stand, and I'm pretty sure, even if you're new, you do not need me to tell you what a stand is. But just in case, she gets these abilities, these superpowers, to fight other people with superpowers and abilities, and she has to try to save her father. So basically, now granted, it does seem like it is a basic plot. However, the fights are cool, the animation's cool, the characters are awesome, and how they win is just absolutely bizarre, no pun intended. I mean, okay, nah, you know what, a little pun intended, ha ha ha. But anywho, I highly recommend you at least give this anime three episodes. And with that being said, let's talk about the animation. Of course, David Production is at it yet again with a beautiful job, 10 out of 10. The animation is superb from start to finish. The character designs, the art style, the coloring, etc. And also that intro is just, it's an 11 out of 10. especially towards the end. It is magnificent. It is super. It is simply beautiful. Alright. Now, one other thing I do want to throw out there, though, is even if David Production didn't do a good job, or even if uh, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6 was given to another studio, and I can't really think of any studio that is not liked except for the studio that does Black Clover, and I know a lot of people complain about the Black Clover animation for whatever reason, but I just want to point out one thing. This is my PSA for the day. I be grateful, okay? Be thankful that we got this animation. Not just this anime, but any other anime. Yes, be grateful we got Seven Deadly Sins Season 4. Be grateful we got Black Clover. Be grateful that we get any kind of manga slash anime because the animators and the mangakas in Japan are treated poorly and are paid in peanuts. So stay humble and again, be grateful. Now, with that being said, the animation, like I stated, is absolutely amazing. And the intro is really good too. On top of that, what I really like about the intro is the fact that it doesn't spoil anything. It just kind of shows you the characters, who you're going to see, and you get to see a little bit of like stand abilities, but it doesn't really tell you who's going to fight who, and it isn't like say the One Piece intro where you're spoiled on who's already going to fight who. So it's like, why bother watch the intro, right? You already know who's going to go up against which character. But no, it's spoiler free. The music is beautiful. It's one of my favorite out of the JoJo intros, and the outro is pretty nice too. And with that being said, let us jump on over to the voices. So, first off, Jolene Cujo's voice is absolutely superb. It's great in Japanese, it's great in English, it's great in Spanish. It is great all around. The actresses do a fantastic job, and on top of that, the voice sounds like it actually comes from the character. It isn't a case like, and I know this might be controversial, but I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Some of the voices in the Funimation dub of My Hero Academia are trash. Like Deku's voice is okay, it's mid at best, but voices like Toga, Mina, and Suyu are by far the worst the show has to offer. But JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stone Ocean, it's really good. Every character's voice sounds great in any language. Now, granted, there are some that are not so good, and a great example of that would be White Snake and FF in English voice. Mind you, mind you, the voices aren't the worst, nor are they bad. It's just if I had to put a score to this, they get a 9 out of 5. Like, it's good, but it sounds a little off in my honest opinion. Meanwhile, the voices in, Spanish and Japanese sound absolutely amazing, and I love their voices, especially in the Spanish version. It sounds really cool, really menacing, but in English, it doesn't sound bad, like I said. It sounds okay at best. But with that being said, though, the voices all around are at least decent. They fit the characters. It sounds like this is exactly what the characters should sound like. And with that being said, let us talk about the characters. So, of course, we have Jolene Cujo, the main protagonist and the first female lead protagonist in JoJo. Mind you, there have already been females in JoJo, like Trish in Part 4, Lisa, plus several other females have already existed in JoJo. So this isn't breaking the walls or challenging the status quo or whatever. This is just a normal thing, but it's the first time that a female was the lead, and she does a fantastic job. While she does have her dad's personality to an extent, she is hard headed, she is strategic, and she prefers to solve things with beating the crap out of them. She does have compassion, like what you'll see in one battle. She is girly slash romantic, like we'll see in the first episode, and she does separate herself from her father. She is her own character. She isn't a gender swap version of JOJO, and all around she is an amazing character. And top again, in my honest opinion, and all of JoJo characters, she is at least top three, if not just number one. She's pretty cool, and that's all I'm going to really say about him. I'm not really going to go with standing. Well, I'm not really going to talk about the stands, which is the Stone Ocean, because I want you, the new person, to kind of watch it and score it yourself. Mind you, her stand is a pretty unique ability, especially the first ability to ever really be used with the main protagonist, instead of it being, it's a stand that affects her as well, and it's really cool and interesting how she uses it. Now, moving on, we have Hermes, which I gotta say, this character is really awesome. She is basically the Joe Bro, aka the Joe Sis, the friend of Jolene, and her stand ability Kiss is pretty interesting. It's unique as well. Plus, I will say this, slight spoilers, if you will. She is a very interesting, not, she's a very cool character because you get to see why she's in jail. She didn't just go to jail for one specific reason. There was an actual reason as to why she did it. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but just know that this is a, well, cool character. Now, with that being said, we have Requiem Plankton. Oh, wait, sorry. We have Foo Fighters, the number two or maybe number one best girl in Stone Ocean, who is basically the comic relief. And I do gotta say, she is the slime girl in technicality, but she's the goof, the comic relief of the bunch, and I just can't wait to see wholesome water inflation art of this character because she really loves water. But other than that, though, her ability, just as well as her being, is pretty interesting. Again, it's unique, it's original to its own right, and Araki has done a great job with every single character, not just with Stone Ocean, but every other series that he's done. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, etc., etc. He does a great job with creating unique and interesting stands because, in the world of JoJo, anything and everything can become a stand. An orangutan can have a stand, a rat can have a stand, and a fishing pole can even be used as a stand. So yeah, there's no limit to Araki's creativity. Also, fun fact: all the stand names are named after music, from singers to music albums. Like, well, of course, like I just said, the Foo Fighters. And next up we have Emporio, who is kind of the mysterious character in the jail. How did he get there? Why is he there? He does help Jolene and Hermes on their journey to find the bad guy and such. Although he doesn't really have any awesome fights like Hermes and Foo Fighters, and he's kind of just there to more so be the guide, if you will, to Stans and again help Jolene. But next up we have Weather Report, who has a stand with the same name, and with this character, I gotta say, his stand is by far the most bizarre, pun not intended, simply because his stand is supposed to do one thing, but it does something completely different. It's kind of like with White Snake. His stand is supposed to do one thing, but yet it's also able to do something else. And that's one issue. Again, it doesn't break the story. It doesn't take away anything. I don't hate it or whatever, but it's just I kind of like when the stands have one specific thing that they can do, right? Like you have Jolene, whose stand is again, I don't want to spoil it for you, but let's just say her and Doflamingo have something in common, and leave it at that. However, though, you jump on over to Weather Report and White Snake, both of these characters, their stands do multiple things, and it doesn't really even go together. But again, it's not something that is really an issue. It is what it is. But with that being said, though, Weather Report is a pretty interesting character. And next we have the main antagonist, Poochie, who is by far your typical evil preacher man and wants to do evil preacher man stuff. Now, granted, his evil religious views are different than others, and he's a pretty interesting character. Now, I will say this though: a lot of fans. What's funny is a lot of fans hated this port because of reasons. I'm not going to really dive into it. But what's funny is the same fans who hated it love it now. It kind of reminds me of the Pokemon fandom where they were always complaining about the next generation, the new generation, and then here comes that said generation, and they're all praising it like, oh my gosh, this is the best gen. I love this gen. But it is what it is. And Poochie is a pretty cool bad guy. His stand is pretty awesome, and he's a very terrifying and threatening bad guy. Now, like I said, I'm not going to really go through every single character. However, though, I do want to point out one thing, and that is this amazing female right here, Quest. She is absolutely amazing. Granted, her stand is in technicality recycled from a stand in Part 5, but it's by far way better than that stand, so hers is much better. Her voice actress does a phenomenal job on voicing her, and I love how everyone loves this character was just a one-off, um, you know, uh, character. I don't want to say that over and over, but thanks to the voice actress doing an amazing job, she is getting some serious love on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure on DeviantArt. Now, one thing I do want to throw out there too is the fact that you have this setting of Jolene going to jail, which you would assume would kind of limit her to doing stuff. Well, first off, there's no such thing as cameras, basically. If you remember part 5, you got Mister and Giorno going up against White Album, and yet no one was on the highway. Or if you remember Narancia going up against Little Feet, and even though those cars blowing up all over the place, and no one looked out their windows, nor did the cops come, that's what's going on here. There's no such thing as cameras or whatever because these characters can do whatever they want and no one expects a thing, right? There's literally a fight where characters float in mid-air and no camera catches that. But it's JoJo. You don't go in it for realism. You don't go in it for logic. Hell, in part 5, Mister literally makes a surfboard or a snowboard out of frozen grass. So don't go into JoJo expecting realism by any means. But even though the characters are in a prison, in this prison you're allowed to move and walk wherever you want. You can go wherever you please freely, from the library to the courtyard, etc., etc. And so there's really no limit to what Jolene is able to do. No one is, except for like if it's 8 o'clock or whatever time for them to turn in. That's when they gotta turn in. But that's even played into an interesting, turns of event. Like how are they going to beat this stand when it's time for everyone to go back to the cell and they can't just walk away from this stand? How are they going to defeat this opponent? And it does add some interesting fights. It does add an interesting atmosphere. Also, I just want to say it is absolutely hilarious that you have characters who look like this and just walk around and no one says a word. Which, to be fair, you got lawyers, you got characters that have ears like this, and it's perceived as normal, right? You have the warden who looks like I think he's supposed to be a reference from Sex Pistols, Mister's guns, but it's your typical Iraqi artwork where characters again will look like this, and it's just a normal human being despite having these weird ears. You can have characters like this walking around in this strange looking suit, and no one bats an eye. And it's just another Tuesday. And on top of that, one character that I was kind of concerned with was this guy here, Thunder McQueen, who I gotta say I was assuming they were not going to, show this. I'm not really going to say exactly what it is, but it's something that's serious, right? But in this case, it's more of a joke, and not the kind of sick, twisted joke like with Squidward or Plankton in that SpongeBob episode, where it was absolutely depressing and disgusting. This guy is a complete and total clown, and you can't really take whatever he does seriously. So, thankfully, this wasn't something that needed to be of any concern. And other than that, though, I like this. Also, my issues with the show. Well, first off, it's only 12 episodes, meaning next year we'll be getting the remainder of the 12. And also, it's on Netflix for whatever reason, which means we don't get to have JoJo Fridays for, again, whatever reason. And I gotta say, that kind of sucks because I really enjoy, even though we in the fandom already know what's going to happen, it's kind of neat to just say every week, hey, I can't wait for this fight, or hey, I can't wait for my favorite character, etc., etc. It just kind of it added to the atmosphere, if you will. The other thing that I had an issue with was, well, to be totally honest with you, there's nothing I really have an issue with. It's just the no more JoJo Fridays, and actually, I'll take that back. I do find it absolutely annoying and hilarious how the fan base hated this part right here. They hated part 6, but as soon as it came out, they started to love it. And again, it reminds me of the Pokemon fandom, where there is no continuity with how they feel about a certain part. It is like they hate it now, they love it when it comes out. But other than that, though, I really had no issue. In conclusion, the animation was brilliant. It was beautiful. The intro was fantastic, and the music was nice. The characters are all interesting, unique, and bizarre, pun intended. And yeah, other than that, I highly recommend you watch this. And remember to follow me on my Twitter and Twitch. Now, with that being said, please subscribe to my channel for more videos. Next, I might do Faraway Paladin, or to be honest, I'm still kind of working on it. I'm still kind of trying to figure out how I want to do this channel. With that being said, farewell, and remember to keep it spicy.